So, welcome to the Chang International Circuit for more fun in the sun. It's certainly heating up out there. We're going qualifying now, 2 qualifying sessions, 15 minutes each. The first will start in 5 minutes' time. That's for driver 1 in these 2 driver pairings. They will define the grid, make the shape of the grid for this afternoon's race, which will start at 2:30 local time. And then after a 5-minute break, the second drivers number 2, they will define the grid for tomorrow afternoon's race. 2 races in all of the rounds of the Blancpain Asia GT Series, and we kicked off in fine form at Sepang a month ago. Next stop Suzuka, then Fuji, both of those in June turning into July, and then Shanghai and Ningbo. 2 Chinese circuits will complete the second of the Blancpain GT Series Asia Championships. My name is Bruce Jones. My pleasure to be out here. I'm sitting at the very left-hand end of that grandstand. You can see the little glass box just on the start-finish line, and from this position, even lower down in the grandstands, you can see probably 70% of the circuit. And if you've never seen the Chang International Circuit, 4.554 kilometres, 12 turns fitted into that length. And on this morning's form, it was Ferraris, which we can see at the exit of the pit lane. They were the 2 fastest cars, both entered by Hub Auto Corsa, and also the ARN Racing Ferrari from Japan was right in there. 50 degrees track temperatures. It was 41 degrees this morning, so the story is getting hotter all the time. The humidity has dropped off a little bit, but it's certainly feeling pretty warm here in Thailand at Buriram, just to the northeast of Bangkok. Now let's take a look at the track. As I said, 12 turns, 4.554 kilometres. The red sector is the first section of the track. It goes through the first corner, the little kink at turn 2, then the timing sector comes to an end, and then one of the best overtaking places, start of sector 2, the big turn 3 hairpin, and then back around a series of lakes, and it's turn 4 that leads out towards the twisting infield section that is so technical to complete the lap. And if you have the balance right, you're laughing. But a lot of the drivers found this morning they were great down the straights, not so good through the twisty parts, or vice versa. And normally we see Audis up at the top end. I just had a quick word with Aditya Patel. His OD Racing Audi was the best of the Audis, but down in 7th place. They're losing out in that long run down towards turn 3, and then making good in the second part of the lap. But they have got speed to find, it must be said. 15-minute qualifying sessions, and in fact Aditya sharing, as he has before, the 86 Audi. He will be out first, and will hand over to Mitch Gilbert for the second session. Of those Ferraris at pit exit, 28 will be started by Maurice Chen, and Leo Yi will be starting the 27 car. That's the red one, and Leo went very well indeed, sharing with Nick Foster at Sepang, but that was then. This is now very different circuit. Red light still on at pit exit. This session starts at 10:50. It's now 10:48 and a half, so you can imagine for these drivers, they have got to get the outlap right, get the heat into their tyres, and then really deliver. And of course the fastest driver will be the driver who starts on pole for this afternoon's race at 2:30. And as pointed out, if you've got pole position, you've got the best position to take the run down towards turn 1. 30 cars, up 1 from the first round at Sepang. We have a record 11 cars in the junior category, the GT4 category. We've got Porsches, Mercedes, BMWs and a sole McLaren. And I think in future rounds we might be seeing more manufacturers coming to the fray. Certainly the European GT4 scene has a lot more manufacturer interest thus far, but GT4 very much the growth category in world sports car racing, being a huge hit. And great to see 3 local teams, JWD Racing Team, Morseng Racing Team and Racing Spirit Thailand, each of them entering a Porsche Cayman, and they look fantastic. If you get a chance, take a look at some of the incredibly metallic liveries they have, most notably Morseng Racing Team, gold and blue, looks absolutely brilliant. But we all know the best looking racing car is the one that ends up being the fastest racing car when you look at the timesheets. So just to reiterate, driver 1 in each of these 2 driver pairings will go out in this qualifying session. That's 10:50 to 11:05. There'll be I said it was a 5 minute, it's actually a 10-minute break, and then driver 2 gets on board 11:15 through to 11:30. It will go in the blink of an eye. Let's hope they'll all behave very well indeed and stay within the white lines. A lot of drivers being given warnings this morning for getting 4 wheels out beyond the white line on the outside of the circuit. Many points on the track as the first cars go out onto the circuit. There's plenty of tarmac out beyond, but the race stewards do not like drivers transgressing, and there will be driver penalties, so they have been warned. 2 wheels over the curbs fine, all 4 wheels not so much. So underway, Hub Auto Corsa, their 2 Ferraris out on the circuit. They were the fastest cars this morning. The KCMG Nissans were very quick indeed, and one of those I think is 3rd in the line at this early stage. So for the 30 drivers, still about a dozen of them waiting to pass the green light to go out to the circuit. Who's going to end up at the top of the timesheets? There's one of the KCMG Nissans, that's number 23, very well placed this morning. Eduardo Liberati went particularly well in that. So though the track temperature is 50 degrees, coming out of turn 3, slight undulations as they come on the leg that brings them back to go around the main lake on the circuit, which is between turns 4, 5 and 6. Still looking to get some heat into the tyres. So it's the number 18 Nissan that's running third in the queue. The yellow Ferrari has really started to pull clear. That should have a lovely clear lap ahead of it for Maurice Chen. Whereas behind, further back down the order, they're all having a little go to get past the second of the Ferraris. There's 6, 7 GT3 cars all together going through turns 5 and 6. So they need to sort themselves space on the track. But Maurice Chen has done everything right. And is probably 2/3 of the way just around his outlet. There you can see that gaggle of cars. It's now sorting itself out, and 27 is just quite happy to let himself fall back. That's Leo Yi. He's making space for himself in a strange way. If I was him, I would have stayed pressing on, because his teammate is coming down towards the final corner of his outlap and has clear track ahead of him to really go on a fantastic flyer. And the 19 Lamborghini has also become impatient. Move through. That's Dennis Lind, the Danish racer. They've got clear track ahead of them. Off they go onto their first flying laps. But the red Ferrari has fallen down towards the back of the pack. He's let 5 cars go past him, and looks as though he's not travelling in notably quickly down the start-finish straight. So not quite sure what Leo Yi is doing, but certainly his teammate in the yellow Ferrari, Maurice Chen, has clear track ahead of him. ARN Racing Ferrari also goes very well indeed. Picked up a top result at Sepang, and as a result actually well placed in the championship. So qualifying 1, 2.5 minutes already gone. The clock counts down very quickly indeed. Who's travelling very well? Well, Maurice Chen most notably. He's got that lead. He set the fastest opening sector of anybody, but that could be toppled as other drivers then come through and set quicker times. But it's all about track space at the moment. The 27 Ferraris let itself fall down the order. Number 5, Phoenix Racing Asia entry, Maxi Lee, on board the championship this weekend. Joint winner of the Silver Cup in 2017. He's back on board, and he's joined Alex Yoon this weekend. A number of driver changes. Group M have changed 3 of their 4 drivers. They always have a rotation of drivers. And now it's impatient from Dennis Lind. He's caught right up with Maurice Chen. And the black and green Lamborghini tries to go through. This isn't the best way to set a flying lap, gentlemen. Side by side isn't good, but Dennis Lind is determined he's quicker. He's caught up probably about 10 seconds. As Maurice Chen, though he had the clear lap, and Audi Racing, Aditya Patel, 86, dives down the inside to make space for himself, but it's all sorting itself out. Waiting for that first flying lap to be on the board, and it most likely will come from Dennis Lind. Just waiting. Yes, 1 minute 35.3. They can go faster. We saw 1 minute 33.1 second laps this morning in practice. 63 Lamborghini tucked in behind. The second of the FF Racing Team entries, Hiroshi Hamaguchi, Japanese racer. He's in the background. He's 4th in that grouping, but Dennis Lind, Danish racer, setting the pace, worked his way to the front. So those 2 Hub Auto Racing Corsa Ferraris, first and second quickest this morning, not looking that way at the moment in qualifying. Group M Racing Mercedes at the front of that gaggle, but actually came out rather behind the others. He's sort of a lap down. Dennis Lind will be the driver who should be setting the ultimate pace this time around, but Aditya Patel has the fastest lap so far in the 86 Audi Racing Audi. 1 minute 35.311. Hamaguchi in the 63 Lamborghini, and his teammate Dennis Lind in the 19 Lamborghini. So suddenly the order has been shaken up big time. Aditya just told me we're losing out down the long straight from turn 1 up to turn 3 and then back down to turn 4, but in the twisty bits the Audi a little more wieldy, but certainly they don't think their strength is in a straight line, but they're still top of the time charts. 10 minutes remaining in this opening qualifying session. This is the one that defines the grid for this afternoon's race. That is at 2:30. The 999 Mercedes, Patrick Niederhauser, 8th fastest at the moment. New car at the top of the timesheets, the sister Craft Bamboo Racing Porsche, and that's Aidan Reid, top of the charts in the 991. In GT4 at the moment, looking down the order, it's Reinhold Renger, also from the Group M Racing Mercedes crew. They've got the 2 cars, 888 and 999 in the GT3 class, and Renger racing all on his own in the GT4 class. But 991 top of the time charts. Well, it was. Things are changing fast. We've now got the Ferrari, the 27 Ferrari. There I was thinking it was dropping down the order. Leo Yi did it with good purpose, because he is top of the time charts, 1 minute 33.5 seconds, fastest by 3/4 of a second. That is a big boost at the moment, ahead of Aditya Patel's Audi. There is Reinhold Renger in the silver and gold flanked GT4 Mercedes, and the other GT4 Mercedes from Team I Race to Win tucked in behind. But Reinhold Renger all on his own. His best lap so far, 1 minute 44.6. He is 1/1000th of a second faster than the 81 BMW. So he can't rest on his laurels. Next lap from Reinhold. Do we have an improvement? Not yet. So it's Ferrari from Audi, from Lamborghini, from Nissan. How's that for manufacturer variety? And then in 5th place, the 97 Indigo Racing Mercedes. So in fact, 5 manufacturers in the top 5 positions. Still waiting for some quick laps from the 999 crew. Patrick Niederhauser, he's sharing this weekend with Marcus Pommer. Different lineup for the 99 crew from the one that went out racing and was one of the 2 winners at Sepang in the opening round of the championship. Improvement up to 2nd place. Dennis Lind in the 19 Lamborghini, waiting to see what Edoardo Liberati can do. Here he is in the 23 Nissan. That's blue above white. The sister car is white above blue. Looking for quick times on the screen, and down to 5th place, Liberati. No improvements in the first 2 sectors of the lap, so unlikely to improve overall. The 45 sister car is an Audi, so KCMG double the fun for them. 2 different manufacturers in the same camp. 2nd fastest at the moment, Martin Rump. Here he is on screen. He's sharing with Frankie Chen Kong Fu, one of 3 Absolute Racing Audi. So Audi is actually suddenly coming good. Off the pace this morning, a second and more down on the pace of the Ferraris, and now right up into 2nd place. Traffic, as you can see, quite an issue, and now Martin Rump is on the tail of a group of cars. Doesn't want to be on the tail of a group of cars. Choice: do you waste a lap trying to pick your way round, or do you drop back by 3 or 4 seconds? And then, of course, you can very easily come across a group of GT4 cars just in the wrong place. Just seeing, in fact, one getting in the way there. Martin Rump trying to attack the Nissan, going on a tighter exit, and cuts his way past as he runs out of turn 7 up towards 8 in the very twisty 3rd sector of this lap. 4.554 kilometres, fastest time so far, 1 minute 33.501. Nearly 3/10 of a second quicker than Martin Rump. Here is Rump in the number 3 Absolute Racing Audi. But I think this lap has been wasted in terms of getting past the cars in front of him. But he's about to come on another gaggle of cars. Frank Yu climbs out of his GT4 entry. He's 4th in class at the moment for Craft Bamboo Racing. That looks so his session is run. And suddenly, Edoardo Liberati sets the fastest 1st sector of anybody. He's in the 23 Nissan. Probably by dint of not being in the middle of traffic. Just look at that grouping. Very hard indeed to pick your way through. That's the sister Nissan, number 18. And I think somewhat further back will be Liberati. He's 5th fastest at the moment. Didn't improve on that lap. In fact, he got rather caught out. There he is, but wait to see what he does on his 1st sector on the following lap, because he set the fastest 1st sector of anyone. But the clock is not the driver's friend at the moment. We're starting to run out of drivers setting green sector times, which means they have improved their mark. Traffic has been an issue for some, but don't forget, with every further lap, these Pirellis offer just a little bit less than they were when they were super sharp at the start of the session. But for a driver on a circuit like the Chang International Circuit, they have to understand just how hard to push them, because certainly not a lot of really fast corners, but just the constant cornering, particularly from turns 4 through to turns 11, really does make these tyres work very hard overall. But a new name at the top, suddenly 999 has come through. That's Patrick Niederhauser. Last time I looked, he was down in about 15th place. Suddenly, bang, 1 minute 33.396 seconds. He's on top by just over 1/10 of a second from Liu Yi in the 27 Ferrari. So he worked his way clear of traffic and built up his speed. Bang, delivered very well indeed. Group M Racing know full well what it takes to win. They won both of the opening races at Sepang. Brought a new group of drivers this weekend, including Maxi, one of the stars in GT3 racing. So he's on board this weekend. He's sharing the 888 car. That's the one with the blue colours on the flanks, with Alexander Matchell So who is going to fight back? Is 37 going to make a move? That's Anthony Liu. He's 5th fastest at the moment for Absolute Racing. They've got 3 cars to spread their experience across and bring the knowledge forth to make the setup as close to perfect as they can get. So we have a Mercedes on pole, but the sister car with Maxi just at the bottom of the picture. He is down in 15th place in 888, but Niederhauser in 999 Mercedes, top of the pile. Only a 10th of a second though. Who is fighting back? Looking at Anthony Liu, he is one of them. He set his best first sector, not a very good middle sector, so I think this lap is probably wasted for him. But he's got to press on. But look at that Mercedes circulating on its own out front. Just what you want in qualifying. You work the space. 3.5 minutes remaining. Where is the challenge coming from? Dennis Lind looked quick, but he's brought the Lamborghini 4th fastest into the pits. There's the sister car, 63. That has tumbled down with Hamaguchi down to 10th place overall. Just completing another lap. Will he move up the order? Well, he does a better time, but not better than his very best, so he stays in 10th position. A lot of runners coming into the pits. They won't be able to get out in time to do another flying lap, one wouldn't have thought. So anybody challenging Niederhauser for pole position with the first of the races will have to do it now. They'll have to be the ones out on the track. Niederhauser has backed off a bit. Looks like he's just bringing it in. No more purpose. It's only a 10th of a second, but a lot of his challengers, including the second place Ferrari, are in the pits at the moment. So is it done and dusted for the 999 Group M Racing Mercedes? We can't see, but he's sitting very well at the moment. Out on the track, Martin Rump, 3rd fastest, but he needs to find 4/10 of a second to topple the Mercedes. How about the Nissans? Will they be able to travel any faster? The 23 Nissan Liberati down in 7th place now, so that's gone a little bit backwards. And the sister car, number 18 with Taniguchi at the wheel. Yuka Taniguchi has fallen even further down. He is down in 16th place. We have 19 cars in the GT3 class, 11 in GT4, top in GT4 at the moment. Here's Reinhold Renger. He's still there, hanging on by that 1,000th of a second. He's in the pits, not going to do anything better, so it's up to the 81 BMW, to 1,000th of a second down, to see if he can topple him. Just under 2 minutes remaining. Where are the quick times coming from? There is the sister BMW, Kenny Rata at the wheel. He's 25th overall, but that's good for 5th in the GT4 class. 37 Audi still attacking. Anthony Liu, though, still in 5th place. His last lap way down on the pace. There is the number 5 Audi. That's going to have to settle for the tail end of the top 10. Archie Lee set a time that's 9th quickest at the moment, 1.2 seconds down on the ultimate pace. Good lap from Martin Rump in the number 3 Audi. Oh, we've got a spinner out of the final corner. First one we've had in the session, so are we going to have any? We've got waved yellow flags, so anybody on a flyer, including 23 Eduardo Liberati, is going to have to back off. It's the KCMG Audi, which was Naoto Takeda, number 45. He's the 2nd slowest in the GT3 class, and clearly that will be no improvement. So into the final minute of qualifying. Vast majority of the runners have made their runs and are in the pit lane. The 999 Patrick Niederhauser car, the Mercedes from Group M Racing, on provisional pole position. He is just cruising back to the pits at the moment. In fact, he's not cruising, he's going around for one more lap, because deep into the final corner he dives. Is he going to try and improve his mark? Doesn't really need to, because the closest challenger, Leo Yi, is in the pits at the moment with the 27 Ferrari. Martin Rump, the number 3 Audi, still may fancy his chances, but traffic could be a little bit of an issue. But actually, that said, I think only about 10 of the cars still on the circuit. The fact 4 of them, including the ARN Ferrari there, have found the same piece of track, just shows even if you have a few, you can still somehow get the cars on top of each other. The checkered flag will go out in 3 seconds time to end the session, so this is the final lap for the gaggle of cars we're looking at. In the pits is Patrick Niederhauser. He didn't continue any further, but it just shows he was practicing his in-lap by coming down to the final corner so quickly indeed. Is Martin Rump going to be able to improve his time? Looking for any late charges, but at the moment it's Niederhauser in the 999 Mercedes from the 27 Ferrari of Leo Yi. Martin Rump takes the checkered flag. Number 3 is 3rd at the moment, and 4th is Dennis Lind in the Lamborghini. So no late charges GT4 pole in the pocket of Reinhold Renger. His Mercedes in the middle of shot there, the silver with the gold colours on the flanks. He's made it a double for Group M Racing. They've taken pole with the 999 car. That's top of the charts, top of the GT3 table, and top in GT4 is the sister car. One of the two sister cars, but the one in number 66, 666, 20th overall. And here we have the times at the end. Look how close it was, just over a tenth of a second. Pole position for Patrick Niederhauser in the 999 Mercedes. Hub Auto Corsa 27. They went out very early on in their Ferraris, and right at the end, though, they came good. Moved up to second place. Martin Rump waves the flag for Audi in third. Dennis Lind for Lamborghini in fourth place. And when we look at the next timing graphic, we'll see the top car in GT4 in 20th place overall, the 666 Mercedes. Reinhold Renger by, just look there, 1/1000th of a second from Sunako Jokocho in one of the two BMW Team Studi M4s. So very tight indeed. In fact, you couldn't get it any tighter than that. So apart from one little spin for the 45 KCMG Ferrari, everybody kept it on the straight and narrow. No damage done, but pole position by 0.14 of a second. So let's look at the highlights coming up of the first of two qualifying sessions here at the Chang International Circuit. 30 cars went out to play. Let's have a look at the highlights of how they got on. So, hot morning here at the Chang International Circuit. 30 drivers knowing they had to A, go out and set the fastest time they could, B, not damage the cars because they were going to have to hand them over in qualifying session 2 to their teammates. But it was the two Ferraris from Hub Auto Corsa fastest this morning. They were the first ones out onto the track, but didn't set a scintillating pace early on. They got caught up in the traffic. They didn't run away at the front of the field. And the driver working his way through was Dennis Lind, trying to get past the first car on the track, which is Maurice Chen in the yellow Hub Auto Corsa Ferrari. But Ferrari's still looking good, but it was about getting track space out on the circuit. Dennis Lind pushed really, really hard indeed. It ended up eventually with 5th place for him. But he made the space on the track to go out and play. And then the 999 Mercedes started going better and better, and Patrick Niederhauser found almost a second in one lap to put himself top of the charts by 1/10 of a second. And as others tried to fight their way up to him, they found traffic in the way, but it was a really solidly good lap from Niederhauser. That was good for pole position. Martin Lee back on board this weekend. He ended up at the bottom end of the top 10 in his Audi, but we could see that Nissan's troubling their way through. Dennis Lind pushed hard, but it was Niederhauser, Group M, and Mercedes who were top of the charts. There we have a 10-minute break, but in fact it's already travelling through. The cars will be back on track at 11:15, so 7.5 minutes from now, and that's when driver 2 in each of the two driver combinations will take over the car. They'll take all the advice they can from how the track conditions are from their teammates, and they will go out and then they will have their qualifying session of 15 minutes to see who will take pole for tomorrow afternoon's race. So we know the first blood with a time of 1:33.396 seconds has been taken by the Group M Mercedes crew, and it was Patrick Niederhauser who delivered the goods there, the Swiss racer. He's on a bit of a high this season. He's already putting some wind under his belt and has laid down the marker. So just remember that time, 1:33.396 seconds, and that'll be large in the mind of his teammate Marcus Pommer, because being better than your teammate is always a very good thing to be, and should be interesting to see. The track conditions very much the same as they were before, but probably the track temperatures crept up by another degree or so, even during the 15 minutes of that qualifying session. Slight cloud here at the Chang International Circuit, but step out from the air conditioning and it's certainly pretty warm indeed. There are the cars up on the jacks in the pit lane. Two of the Group M Racing Mercedes. The 999 car is the one with the red on the flanks, and the sister car's got blue. That's 888. That will be taken over by Maxi Book, who is the gold standard in GT3 racing, on the books for Mercedes for quite a number of years now, and just when you need someone to deliver, he is pretty much your guy. He was the Blancpain Sprint champion, but that was with Bentley back in 2015, but then he crossed over to Mercedes with HTB Motorsport and did it again. He was the overall GT champion in 2016, so the best of the best. The lights are red at the end of the pit lane, but that hasn't stopped a dozen cars already pulling out from in front of their pit garages to drive down towards pit exit. You'll see them bottom of the screen. They cannot go anywhere, so it's one of the FFF Racing Lamborghinis sitting at pit exit. Is it 19 or 63? Very, very similar liveries. You have to look for the door mirrors. They're black on the 63 and green on the number 19. Ben Porter and Andrew McPherson in Andrew's Lamborghini from AMAC Motorsport up from Australia, looking to improve their position. So it is the 19 car with the green wing mirrors, and at the wheel now for 19 for the FFF Racing team is Martin Kodrick, a driver who has defined his career in recent years with everything that has the raging bull on the nose, anything that is a Lamborghini. So Martin sitting at pit exit waiting to go. That will be at 11:15. So he still has 5 minutes to wait. So no wonder he's wafting the door. Heat in the cockpit in these cars with an engine going. Builds up very quickly indeed. When they're at a standstill, there's no air going through the ventilation systems. You can see the 37 Audi tucked in behind doing exactly the same. That's Josh Burden. And watch for Josh. He was very quick in qualifying at Sepang and certainly laid down quite a marker. It's always the wonder when you get drivers coming in from many championships and stepping up to a series like Blancpain GT Series Asia just to see how they rank against each other. And back not so long ago, like many young drivers, Josh was racing single-seaters. He was the Asian Formula Renault champion, but it couldn't be much more different stepping up to race a P3 car in the Gulf 12 Hours in 2017, and then again in the Asian Le Mans series, but stepping across to GT3 runners, he's made a massive splash, and there he is, second in the line in the number 7 Absolute Racing Audi. And Josh took pole for the second race at Sepang last time out. That's what he's trying to do, the second race here at Chang International Circuit, and with his teammate Anthony Liu went on to finish second at Sepang. So they know when they come to their driver change in race 1 here, they've got to stay at a standstill for an extra 10 seconds, which is their success penalty from Sepang. But that's for what lies ahead. It's really what lies ahead in the next 15 to 20 minutes that counts for Josh Burden. And Martin Kodrick will be doing his utmost to make sure that he takes the pole position, as will a whole host of drivers in this 30-car field. Last few cars, GT4 runners who've got pit garages near pit entry, just forming the rear of the line in the pit lane. 30 cars go out to play in 19 in GT3 and 11, just showing how the junior GT4 class is getting bigger and bigger. And I think through the course of the season we'll see more drivers joining in that element of this championship. Great to have the BMW M4 GT4s. 2 of those entered from the Japanese BMW team, Studi team, and obviously we saw one of them right at the sharp end in GT4, just lost out on pole position in that class by the smallest of fractions of a second. So drivers number 1 in each of these crews can have a cooling drink in the pit garage. They'll have told their teammates how the car's handling, where it's strong, where it's not so strong, where to push, where not to push. But for a lot of them, they'll be saying, just make sure you get a space in the traffic, because these cars, as we saw at the end of the qualifying session number 1, when we only had about 10 cars left, they managed to have 4 of them trying to take the same corner at the same time. So a lot of driver intelligence is very, very useful indeed. When the tyres at their sweetest, you do not want to be having to overtake other cars. And as we saw with various runners, I think we saw Nick Foster in one of the 2 Hub Auto Corsa Ferraris. He ran wide to go past a couple of GT4 class cars and got very dusty tyres, and that took a few corners to get that dust off. Go out wide at the edge of the circuit, off the racing line, and there's all sorts of muck that doesn't help your tyres behave in the way you'd really like them to deliver. So the drivers have to wait another 40 seconds until the lights will go green at pit exits. Several of the drivers and teams decided to keep their cars in the shade for as long as possible. There's the great, wonderful livery on the Korean-entered Indigo Racing Mercedes with Juwon Seo, but he's done his bit. It's now Rolf Bruins who's taking the car out to Hub Auto Corsa Ferrari's taking a different route this time. Instead of starting at the front of the train as they did in Q1, they've decided maybe not to get in the way, and maybe to time their departures. They're half a lap behind the others, and then see if that gives them the clear lap that they need. So Patrick Niederhauser set the mark. He took provisional, well, he took pole for this afternoon's race, so that was Q1 for the 888 crew. Sorry, the 999 crew from Group M Racing. 888 is the sister car. So, turn 1, a very tricky corner indeed. You can see on the left of the screen, the driver's coming out of pit exit that takes the pit exit lane, leads them out to beyond the exit of turn 1 before it joins the circuit. And again, the time-honoured fashion, Audis at the front, weaving to get heat in their tyres. One of the two Nissans from KCMG, mighty cars. There's more variety. There's a Craft Bamboo Racing Porsche, but the second one follows down. Lights ablaze, even though it's a bright sunny day. That's so they can let the drivers of any car in front of them that's not going as fast as they are to keep out of the way. And of course the GT4 glass cars are somewhat slower, and any notification that they're coming up on them is required to help them out. So Aidan Reid, one of a whole host of Australian drivers in the race, he's showing the 991 entry with Daryl O'Young. So what we're seeing now is the drivers getting heat in their tyres, just getting the feel for the cars, hoping that everything their teammates told them just chimes with how they're feeling through their hands, through their backsides, their back as they sit in the seat, just the sheer performance of the car, the balance, how it is. So Martin Kodrick streaking round clear at the front of the field. He looks like he's going to win the prize, which is to get cleared track, but as he comes down to the final corner, there is still a gaggle of cars coming out of pit exit, including the Hub Auto Corsa Ferraris. He'll get past them, but he wanted to have completely clear track, because of course the cars coming out of the pits at the start of their qualifying session will be trying to get heat in their tyres. They have to keep out of the way, but for Kodrick, he thought by getting his way to the front of the field that that would give him the clear track that he so desires to deliver what he hopes will be pole time right at the start of the session. There's the one and only spinner in the first session. That was the 45 KCMG Audi, so they're running the two Nissans and the Audi, but Naoto Takeda took a spin. Now it's in the hands of Takuya Shirasaka, and that's running in the AM class. They're two bronzes in GT3. So the Group M Mercedes keeping out of the way, that's on its out lap, and for Martin Kodrick just flashing his lights and blasting his way past as they went down towards turn 4. Not getting the clear track he wants, but actually in front of him now it looks pretty good indeed. So he'll be the first driver to deliver a flying lap. He's got 4 more corners to negotiate. The best time in qualifying session 1 for this afternoon's race, 1 minute 33.396, set by Mercedes. Set by the 999 Mercedes of Patrick Niederhauser, but he didn't do it in one go. He took quite some while to boost his speed. Very fast exit from turn 11 for the number 19 Martin Kodrick car. Quite a few of the drivers warned for going wide on that fast left flick. Don't want any driver penalties to scupper a lap, so here comes the lap for Kodrick. 1 minute 37.612 seconds, so plenty of scope for improvement, like 4 seconds worth and more if possible. Look at the back of the picture, the two Nissans running nose to tail. So maybe trying to work a little bit of a system. Number 18 Sugio Matsuda and number 23 Florian Strauss. Strauss tucked in behind. So while all eyes were on the 19 Lamborghini, the fastest car is the number 7 Adderley Fong. Very fast in the first of the practice sessions. He was top of the charts for Absolute Racing, and Adderley going very well indeed. At the moment he's half a second clear of Florian Strauss in that number 23 Nissan. We were just talking about it. 27 Ferrari weaving around. That's Nick Foster trying to get heat into the tyres. But of course he's a lap or so down on those that went out straight at the start of the session, so they're further into their process of getting up to speed, getting the heat in their tyres and delivering the times. Adderley Fong, Florian Strauss, Daryl O'Young, they're the top 3 at the moment. The second of the Nissans, Matsuda in 4th place. And in 5th place at the moment, that's fantastic performance from all bronze crew, AMAC Motorsport. Ben Porter, top up into 5th place. He's 2 seconds down, but he's 5th at the moment, so he's delivered very early on indeed for the 51 Lamborghini. ARN Racing Ferrari went very well here last year, race winner in the hands of Rui Aguas. But at the moment, not at the top of the charts. Daisuke Ito down in 11th place. Don't forget he came effectively a lap after the others. And Maxi Book, I turned my back for a second and suddenly the 888 Mercedes, there it is with the blue flags, top of the charts, 1 minute 33.217 seconds. It's nearly 2/10 quicker than Patrick Niederhauser managed in the sister car, and that's Maxi Book. He went out Did one lap, laid down the marker, but there's a real challenge coming from Martin Kodrick. He just 0.2 of a second down in number 19. He's done one more lap on the board, but Maxi Boot just bangs it out there. Here comes Kodrick in 19, trying to fight back, and in fact Kodrick's first sector time, where straight line speed is absolutely paramount importance, is fastest of anybody. He's a 1/10 of a second quicker than Maxi Boot, so they're both pressing on faster than before. It looks like we're going to go into the 1 minute 32s at this rate. But importantly for the FFF racing team, it's their driver who's the quicker one through the first sector, but Maxi Boot then responds in the middle sector, fastest of anybody, and Kodrick is half a second down on pace, so through the sector that goes around the lakes. 888 Mercedes, best of the pile. 911 Porsche Shea Davis down 11th place at the moment, so we're seeing flashes of speed from the 911. Not yet good enough for a top 10. Waiting for Maxi Boot to complete his flying lap in 888. Looks like it's going to be the fastest of all. 33. Oh, he's down by 33.3. Follows a 1 minute 33.2. So he doesn't improve on pole time. The end of his lap was, I didn't see if it was compromised by traffic, but Martin Kodrick comes through afterwards. 33.8. So he was 4/10 down. So I think they both got rather compromised. The middle sector was where Kodrick lost out. So it's all about knitting together not just one good lap, but it's the 3 sectors. You might do a brilliant sectors 1 and 3, get scuppered in sector 2. So make your space to get your pace. Number 5, Alex Young. Archie Lee we saw going very well in that car in session number 1. This is qualifying 2 for tomorrow's race, and Alex Young 10th, 1 minute 34.6, so he's 1.5 seconds down on the incredible pace set by Maxi Boot, but that's not incredible enough anymore because we've got a new name at the top. The number 28 Ferrari, Tim Slade. He showed great pace in free practice this morning, constantly at the top of the time charts. There he is again, 0.13 of a second faster than Book. That means change at the top. So it's the 28 Ferrari, fastest of anybody, yellow with the grey roost. There it is in the background behind the number 7 Audi. The number 7 Audi, Adelie Fong at one point right at the top of the charts, now down in 11th place. Shows how the standard keeps on rising. So it's Slade at the top, Maxi Boot in second, the sister ARN Racing Ferrari. The red one is now in 3rd place with Nick Foster, Marcus Pommer. So it goes Ferrari, Mercedes, with Hub Auto Corsa and Group M Racing alternating at the top of the charts. And then the third of the Ferraris, the ARN Racing Ferrari at the moment, Daisuke Ito driving it in 5th fastest. So Ferrari's looking good, and Audi's really having to fight their corner. Martin Kodrick in the Lamborghini is 6th. Frankie Chen 7th, best of the Audis. And in free practice, oh dear, the ARN Ferrari's gone for a loop. Dust everywhere. Pit building in the background, so he's in quite an unusual position to go off, but we've got session carries on. But Daisuke Ito, who just moved up to 5th fastest time, now, as he doesn't continue and others do, he's fallen down to 7th, but fallen off into the gravel, kicked up all sorts of dirt in the background, hanging in the air. Just checking for waved yellow flags on the entrance to turn 4. So 1 minute 32.935 last time around from Tim Slade. That is a new fastest lap, extends his lead at the top. It was 0.1 of a second, it's nearly 0.3 of a second over Maxi Boot. Maxi Boot, though, in turn has just set his fastest first sector and is trying his utmost to fight back in the Lamborghini. But red flag, all the drivers backing off, so they had waved yellow flags at turn 4. And the Ferrari sort of halfway between turns 4 and 5, but facing the circuit after that spin. It went across the tarmac outfield and then into the gravel, so that's worked very nicely indeed for Tim Slade by the looks of things. Fastest by 0.281 of a second in that number 28 yellow Hub Auto Corsa Ferrari. Maxi Boot looks like he's about to fight back in the silver and blue Group M Racing Mercedes. There it is, number 888. Lamborghinis, they sort of got towards the front and then fell back. 19 has fallen now with Kodrick down to 8th place, and 63, the sister car, is the slowest of all 19 runners in GT3. So the car's coming into the pit lane. Note the clock keeps counting down, so it depends how long it takes them to get the session under. Oh, good, the ARN Racing Ferrari is back on the circuit and driving back home under its own steam, so hopefully we'll be able to go back out with enough meaningful time on the clock for people to do an outlap and then deliver a flying lap. But it's going to be a massive scramble from the pits. But right now, 28 Ferrari, there it is, fastest of all. And Tim Slade will be very pleased with circumstances at the moment. But that was a great lap. 1 minute 32.935 seconds. So that's getting on towards half a second quicker than the best of the best in qualifying number 1. Qualifying 1, it was the 999 Mercedes. In qualifying 2, it's the 28 Ferrari and the sister Mercedes, number 888, that's leading the chase with Maxi. I think there's more to come from the German. GT4, it's Reinhold Renger. He took pole for race number 1. He's on provisional pole in GT4 for race number 2. Gilles Vannelet leading the chase. That's 72 Team I race to win. Mercedes really picking up the pace. So it's the 2 Mercedes in GT4 that lead the class. Third place in fact, I'm telling you a slight fib here. It was the 81 BMW that right at the end, just before that red flag, nipped to the top of the class. Renger and Vannelet are second and third, so it's the 81 BMW, so it's BMW, Mercedes in GT4. There you have them at the top of the screen. Renger, Vannelet, second and third, but 20th position, the same position as the best place of the GT4 runners in the first qualifying session, is number 82, which is Max Chen, Taipei. So waiting for any signalling about when we may get a restart. The lights are red at pit exit. That's all the teams need to know right now. We had 5 minutes left on the clock. Scramble in the pits. And just had message, the restart will give us 6 minutes and 8 seconds in which to go to play. So there will be enough meaningful amount of time for the drivers to get out, make a bit of space for themselves, get the heat into their tyres, and then deliver one, possibly, first one's out there, 2 flying laps, I would suggest. So it's trying to stay calm around you while the clock is ticking. Waiting for a signal from the pit lane about when the 6 minutes and 8 seconds that remains of this session will be underway, but you'll want to get your car as quickly to pit exit as you can. They haven't been given a signal they're able to do so as yet. Looks as though Ben Porter was ready to go out in the AMAC Lamborghini. Good crowd in here today. Plenty of corporate guests enjoying watching these GT3 and GT4 runners on their second visit to the Chang International Circuit at Buriram. All the drivers, you can sense their urgency to get towards pit exit first. So those in garages further down the pit lane, including the Lamborghinis, have the easiest opportunity. The pit lane is now open and the Lamborghinis blast towards pit exit. But again, we see that Hub Auto Corsa crew holding their Ferraris back. Now they're starting to roll. They had the biggest advantage. They could have got to pit exit first, but they chose not to. And for the FFF racing team, they absolutely wanted to make sure their cars were first to pit exit. Number 63, Hiroshi Hamaguchi, sharing with Marco Mappelli. And that, at the moment, is down in 19th place, slowest in the class. But the sister car, 19, Martin Kodrick, is 8th, but he showed lots of feisty performance out there, and I think he got rather compromised by traffic. He's got to make the clear space that he needs. Lights still red at pit exit. The queue formed up behind almost all of the field, moving into the line, waiting to get out onto the circuit. So it may well be your best tactic if you're not at the front of the queue, is just to hang back and go out half a lap later and hope you get out before the first of the fast runners come round. So off we go. 6 minutes and 8 seconds remaining in this qualifying session. This is for tomorrow's race, for the Sunday race. Just remember the numbers, 28, 88, 37. They are the fast 3. So right at the end there we had a very good lap from Josh Burden. We said at the start of the session he's running in the Pro-Am class, but proving a real star. Anthony Liu, also a very good teammate, Chinese racer in that Absolute Racing number 37 Audi, up into 3rd place overall. 666 Mercedes was on pole in GT4 for today's race, is now second as we try and form the grid for tomorrow's race. So look out for Reinhold Renger in that 666 Mercedes, but ambition is absolutely clear for the 63 crew and the sister car number 19 from FFF Racing. Get out, lay down your lap time. Should be Marco Mappelli in 63. We've got a graphic. I think he hasn't flicked the switch because his teammate Hamaguchi did Q1. So if it says Hamaguchi is not in both sessions, it should be Mappelli. Often drivers get in, they forget to flick it over. Yes, there it is on the timing screens now. Mappelli, slowest of the GT3 runners in 19th, but it's Slade, Buch and Burden at the top. Number 28 is Tim Slade. There he is in the yellow Ferrari. It's been looking good in every session out on the circuit. Absolute key though. Particularly, it doesn't seem as though the Lamborghinis are the fastest cars here, but they've made themselves have clear track. They're just going through turn 12 now to start a lap as the yellow Ferrari is working its way around the track with not too much traffic around it, but the FFF Racing Lamborghini is down towards turn 1 now, running almost nose to tail. They might even try and give each other, the second car, a tow and then return the favour. They have got what all the crews need, because look, we're down to just 4.25 minutes remaining in this session. It's about getting space on the track. There's the Indigo Racing Mercedes from Korea. They're running third and fourth. He's tucked in behind the number 37 Audi. Don't forget, with Josh Burden in the 37 car, he's got a nice stretch of clear track. He's third fastest at the moment. This could be the moment that Josh Burden absolutely delivers. And tucked in behind him in the 97 Mercedes now with Rolf Bruns at the wheel. But that was only 15th fastest in the first part of this session. 37 though was third quickest. So watch out for the Audi, just going out of shot with the two Lamborghinis. But the 19 Lamborghini is down in 8th. The sister car with Heli is slowest in GT3, now in 19th place. But I think both of those will improve by dint of getting the clear track. Now, looking for green times on our screens. They're not coming just yet for the 37 Josh Burden car. It's probably going to be a quicker lap next time around, but the advantage he has is the fact there is no one close enough in front of him to hamper him. Have we seen the best of the Nissan so far? The Florian Strauss car, number 23, is down in 11th, so I suggest not. The number 3 Audi, only in 10th place though, Frankie Cheng. And the car that's second fastest, the car with Maxi Book on board, here it is. He's got a GT4 runner up ahead of him, but as long as he catches it on a straight, no problem at all. And this was the car that was shaping up to fight back to take pole. Second fastest at the moment, Maxi Book, but if anyone can, in a Mercedes of all manufacturers, it is that man, it is Maxi Book, no problem at all. Just catching up with the BMW. He'll go on past it because he's just got a lot more grunt. As I say there, he tucks in behind as they come down to turn 4. He run out over the edge of the circuit, not too badly, got it all under control. In fact, the BMW got out of the way very nicely indeed. It does take complicity too. Tim Slade, glad we got the watch on him, got the view, because he set the fastest middle sector of anyone. Coming to the end of the lap, just wait to see how his time chimes onto the screen. 1 minute 32.952, so he's right in the mix. So his last lap, that lap, 1 minute 32.952, was just 0.017 a second down on his very best. So compromised by traffic, Tim Slade could have gone faster. What can Maxi Boot do in the 888 Mercedes? He's third fastest because Adeli Fong has just pushed him back. So it's Slade, Adeli Fong in the number 7 Audi. That's the grey one with the yellow flashes. In second place, Maxi Book now down into third position. Maxi trying to fight back, but I think it won't be this lap. It's more likely the next one. The good thing for Maxi, he's got a clear run of circuit up ahead of him. Look how much space he has. 2 GT4 cars, they compromise his lap. They're tucked in behind him, having their own battles. At the moment it's not racing, it's qualifying. There's the number 7 car pushing very hard indeed. Adeli Fong going out slightly beyond the edge of the circuit. No problem though, it was only 2 wheels over the edge, so Adeli, that looks okay. He's got space to go out and play now. Second fastest, it's still Tim Slade, top of the charts in the Hub Auto Racing Ferrari, one of the 2 cars from that stable. It's the yellow one. And as fast as Fong is pushing, Slade is going better in the middle sector of the lap alone. It was a second quicker. The Ferrari is absolutely fantastic on that second sector, which runs from the end just before the entrance to turn 3 to the exit of turn 6, and he is super strong. I think we could be seeing an improvement of lap time for the man on provisional pole, crosses the start finish line. Gosh, he's done 3 laps covered by a 1/10 of a second, so he set the gold standard. He didn't improve that time around, but 1 minute 33.0 follows 2 laps at 1 minute 32.9. Quick and consistent for Tim Slade. Down in GT4, haven't seen that for a while, and we've got a change at the top because Gilles Vanderlei in this car, the 72 Mercedes, has now moved to the top of the charts, and that means he's gone ahead of Kinoshita in the 81 BMW, and Reinhold Renger stays in 3rd position in class, so the team I race to win. Mercedes number 72 top in GT4, so improving form for the crew there. But But the best form of all is the driver of the 888 Mercedes. He had that clear track, and if we can see 888, that's Maxi Book, fastest of anyone. New pole man, 1 minute 32.852, nearly a tenth quicker. There is the checkered flag, it's all in the timing. We could yet see change at the top. Nick Foster going on a quick lap. He's down in 5th place in the 27 Ferrari, but Maxi Book has done what he needs to do. 1 minute 32.852. And is that going to be pole position? His teammate fighting back, crossing the finish line. Marcus Pommer. Marcus just waiting, does not improve. Stays in 6th position. The KCMG 45 Audi crosses the line. Shirasaka at the wheel, but that is the slowest in GT3. But there is Maxi Book. And he's backed right off in that first sector. The job has been done. So tight at the end of Maxi Book. It was down to not just the speed, but the fact he found himself, or worked his way onto a sector of track, helped no doubt by messages from the pit crew. Hang back a little bit here, and then that car will be out of the way, then you can have a clear run, and he did it exactly right. There we had Tim Slade. Looked as though he'd not only got pole position, but set 2 other laps that could have taken pole. But then Maxi Book in the 888 Mercedes from Group M Racing does what is expected of him, because his standard is so high. He comes here, he's in a Mercedes-AMG, and you expect him to challenge for pole position if the car's quick enough, and it most certainly was, and he most certainly worked that session very, very well indeed. 1 minute 32.852 seconds compared to his teammate in the sister car who took pole for this afternoon's race. So Group M, 2 different cars in the GT3 class, and they take first in qualifying in both of the sessions, i.e. for both of those races. So the majority of the cars back in the pit lane. The 28 Ferrari, the yellow one there, really gave it his best shot, but for Tim Slade, we'll have to accept the outside of the front row. The sister car, number 27, Nick Foster, fellow Aussie racer, he is 5th quickest. Audi's looking very, very strong indeed in Thailand. So cars get put onto the little dolly jacks and roll back into their garage, and Adelie Fong deserves a pat on the back. That was a really strong run from the driver from Hong Kong in one of those 3 absolute racing Audis. So it's Mercedes on pole, it's Ferrari in 2nd place. Then we go to 2 Audis in Fong and Burden, then another Ferrari and another Mercedes. And here we have it, the Group M racing cars, 1st and 6th. But it was Maxi Book who delivered. 1 minute 32.852. Tough luck for Tim Slade. He was super quick and consistent. He will have to take 2nd place in Hub Auto Racing Ferrari. And Adelie Fong, as just mentioned, 3rd quickest at the end, to give us plenty of manufacturer variety. But look down to GT4, and it's another Mercedes pole, but this time it's not Group M Racing. Fight back from Reinhold Renger, but it was a great lap there that puts pole position in the hand of Gilles Vannelet, the 72 Mercedes. Great mix of cars. Great to have 3 teams from Thailand racing in the GT4 class, but what we saw there was a masterclass from Maxi Book to take pole position for tomorrow's race. We have pole position for this afternoon's race, Group M Racing Mercedes, but it's a sister car, number 888, that'll be starting on pole tomorrow. So stop-start session with that red flag for the Ferrari going for a little spin. That was cleared up. We had the hiatus, and then they went out. It was about delivering when the chips were down right at the end. But let's take a look back at the highlights of qualifying number 2. We had qualifying 1 to define the grid for this afternoon's race, but the grid for tomorrow was going to be sorted when the number 2 drivers in the cars, nominated driver 1 and driver 2, they went out to play. It was a Lamborghini kicking it off with a 19 car. Martin Kodrick trying to make sure he had track space. So important when you put 30 cars together on this circuit with some tight, twisty corners. The 991 for our Porsche, Darrell O'Young out there trying to make it to the front end, and it was proving quite difficult for the Porsches today. Dennis Lindo, he got to the front and pressed on very hard indeed, but the pace doesn't seem to be with the Lamborghinis here at the Chang International Circuit. He had all the track space he needed, but just couldn't find the form in the car. It was the Audis that started to come good, and the Nissans always look strong. Number 18, Sugio Matsuda, pushing on very hard indeed, just the right amount of curb on the exit of turn 12. And then the name that would strike fear into the hearts of most, Maxi Book in a Mercedes. Well, he was always going to go fast. He had to work very hard indeed, and trying to find space on the track and beyond. That was good driving from 72, Gilles Vannelet in the GT4 Mercedes. Got out of the way of one of the GT3 cars, completely wrecked his own lap. But then Tim Slade started to deliver for the Hub Auto Corsa team. He set pole position, and it looked as though it was going to be good to stand all the way to the finish. He did 2 more laps within a tenth of a second, so he was really on top of his form. But then we had the spin from Daisuke Ito in the ARN Racing Ferrari. That brought out the red flag, and then there was a scramble to the finish. We had 6 minutes and 8 seconds when the session was to be restarted, but first the drivers had to report to the pit lane, sit there and wait until they got the signal. The session was going to be underway again, and it was the Lamborghinis that went out first and second, but it didn't help them in the end because it was other drivers who started to work their way to the front. Still the gold standard in the hands of the yellow Ferrari of Tim Slade. There it is, number 28. But Maxi Book worked his way towards the top of the charts. There were cars all over the track. You had to find space to go and play. It looks like Tim Slade had done everything that he possibly could to take pole position, but then Maxi Book started to really wind it up, and he left it to the very end. He went on to his second last flying lap, and he had a clear section of track ahead of him, and he absolutely flew. Tim Slade could do nothing about it. Got caught up behind one of the two Nissans there, and a Porsche as well, the two Craft Bamboo racing cars, but no traffic at all for Maxi Book, and he slotted in a lap of 1 minute 32.852 seconds, and that was good to take pole by just under a tenth of a second from Tim Slade. A great run at the end from Adelie Fong in one of the 3 Absolute Racing Audis. That was good enough for third place. And Audis had seemed off the pace early on, but they're really picking it up when it counts. But of course, this is qualifying. We're heading off towards the race, but what we know for sure, it's Maxi Book will be top of the charts. There was the checkered flag. He'd already put the time on the board. Maxi Book, the 888 Group M Racing Mercedes, will be on pole position for Sunday's race at Buriram. So the cars back in their garages, stories to tell, laps that got away from them, but what we know for sure, we're going to have some cracking races. One this afternoon starting at 2:30 and the second tomorrow, and it's Mercedes on poles for both of them. So that's it for now. That's the end of qualifying, and do come and join us later. As I say, 2:30 will be the start of the race, but of course we'll have all the countdown towards the race, all the happenings on the grid. So we hope you've enjoyed the action so far. A whole lot more to come when we get serious, really serious indeed, because we go racing. See you later.